Oh, thank God. We can finally put a plug in Camp's mouth. So, Kyle, I can have you talk and explain some of these things for us all. It's a new patch. It's a new day. But these drafts, they seem very, very familiar as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we just had a brand new patch, but just kind of evidence that the more things change, the more they stay the same. Liquid rocking the Chen with the GH Shaker, Vici first two and an IO Gyro. We've seen this pair, the Paparazzi Gyro, forever. And now it's back.
Yeah.
Both new heroes, actually, added to Captain's Mode.
Yeah, that other new hero on the bottom lane. Yang's having a very hard time getting away as the Poison Touch, combining with the early Blightstone. One more attack, and Yang is so low, but he'll be able to survive. GH is being forced off the top rune at the same time. A Fissure, but the extra movement speed from the early boots just allow him to run it off.
And the Tumpa Man can't, it's one of those weird spots where you want to get the attack when you're A-moving, but he actually canceled it, unfortunately, or that would have been the first blood down bottom.
Looks like DY, actually, no, he's going to TP out. Miracle doesn't have enough damage. Kura is a little bit too far away. Even if he was there, it's just providing the extra Blightstone.
Yeah, and then the new Chen, this is what you want to do. We saw this before the changes, whereas now it's back to what we saw previously, where you have Chen as one of the strongest laners to babysit your solo carry in the safe lane. Miracle will be pressured early on, but once Kuro gets a couple creeps up and running, this is no longer a lane a hero like Lion can contest. It's far too weak, especially with the new move speed bonus on the creeps. Kuro's Chen will take over.
Seems like Yang and DY are also off to a bit of a rough start as well. Consumables-wise, there's 4 tangos between them at the moment going against this Chen lane just because of the early initiation that happened around the bounty runes. What do you do if this lane doesn't work? If Chen's going to be such a huge presence, do you just move off the lane, and where do you go then if you're the Lion?
That's a great question, Toby. I'm not quite sure. It's a very difficult game for
Top
DY
lane,
if he doesn't get ahead.
Fade should be first blood. He looks to actually tether himself away, but Mind Control and GH just kept him locked in the trees with a Fissure.
Yeah, I think I disagree with the panel in that I feel like Vici is the team on the clock more so. They need a very strong mid game, and then they've got to utilize TA traps, Wispy relocate, and the crazy lockdown of the Lion to find kills around the map, throttle Liquid on their own side, and then try and close the game on second Roche. If you look at the Liquid lineup, they're going to get to a point in this game where the PA is just unkillable. And Vici, I think the Ags timing with the Gyro, and then TA's MKB, that's where they need to be looking to win the game.
I think we just saw the change come in there with Kuro getting the kill. He was trying to deny himself to the tier 2 tower DY. And because of it, because they changed from 20 seconds to 30 seconds now, it actually awarded the kill to Kuro because he did that last bit of damage before he got to the tower.
Did he get XP off that?
I don't know. I wasn't looking at that exact point. I just know it was Kuro who got awarded the kill for that timing. But there's these small little changes as well, which are meant to try and punish the early. Mid Fissure is out. Ori, he needs to be body blocked up by GH, who will be able to do it. That high movement speed, thanks to the haste rune. It's running out a little bit longer. He's going to salve up quickly. No, he actually just tangos and fairy fires. And he's still alive under the tower. The Poison Touch, 11 HP. He'll end up surviving.
Very close. This is a tough matchup for the TA, as you can already see. Very susceptible to being ganked by the Shaker, but the thing is, if you don't find those kills, he will eventually start to out-CS the Dazzle.
They're really going on top. The Fissure is out, and maybe with the Rocket Barrage, they're in range of Mind Control, but then a quick Icarus dive away gets him back underneath the tier 1 tower. But GH doing what GH needs to do. It's just that ES that has to protect his offlaner.
Yeah, it's an interesting lane phase. The thing is, up top, Mind Control, they surely got that kill, but he's only got 3 CS. Bottom, Miracle taking a ton of damage as well. Only 1 tango. Such
a nice setup as well. When you just follow up you start with the early Earth Spike, and then you just spear him into a tree.
Yeah. It's a ton of lockdown down here, and you can see Kuro coming back. He needs to be playing in this area in order to help out Kuro. And yeah, this is the another big benefit, where you see Miracle just TPs to base, he's going to buy items, buy regen, and Kuro just summons him right back to the lane.
And then he looks to mana burn off any kind of attack. DY's already got the 1 point of mana drain. Because that one little side of Mind Stealer, it makes it impossible for Yang and DY to get the combination right.
And they're still doing well. I mean, Vici's laning phase is actually excellent, all things considered. Even though they're down in gold right now, top is going to become a big problem for Liquid. Shaker is more of a roaming hero, not something that's actually able to secure lanes. And you don't have kill potential on this Gyro for a while. I mean, who on Liquid's going to rotate? It's going to be the Dazzle and the Chen for an objective. That won't be for another 6 or 7 minutes.
Yep. How does a VG actually itemize for that? If Liquid are going to look to rotate around and get involved in these kills, do we see Yang go for the build? I saw S4 doing this in that tournament in Moscow recently, where he went for the Vlad style build up. Do you still want to take that kind of normal off lane item progression? onto Mars, or is there some better stuff you can roll with?
Vlad's for sure. I think it's like a Blink Vlad's maybe Deso hero, but you've got a TA, so that's unlikely. I wouldn't be surprised to just see like Vlad's Blink Ags, because the Ags on Mars is kind of insane. It refreshes your God's Rebuke, the W like AoE auto attack, and it also sets the cooldown to 1.4 seconds. So you can pop it, you can stun someone, rebuke them, ult, rebuke them, and like it's so much damage, and you literally have no items other than phase Vlad's, and it's still gonna be enough.
They're contesting for the 5-minute bounty runes. Fade as well as Paparazzi trying to ensure the top two because they've lost control of the bottom lane. And Paparazzi is able to get the top. So it will actually just be that straight 2-2 trade-off unless they lose some extra life. The Fissure, Fade, IO locked in. He'll burn from this. No way of surviving with the stick charges. Mind control ensures the kill, but it is still a 2-2 bounty rune trade. Yeah,
they need that kill, though. You can see, like, Mind Control's not getting CS, so this buys him some space in the lane, and a nice infusion of gold and XP coming his way. GH, you know, again, the downside of the TA, you can kill him early on, but it just gets more difficult, and once traps are up for Ori, he's the one now able to play aggressive.
Ori's in trouble. DY can even see him coming in, thanks to that fresh Observer Ward. It's Kuro from the bottom, uncertain what he's looking to achieve with the stun, apart from just saying, like, hey, don't you be diving Ori.
Yeah.
And that's why Yang's moving up. They're actually going to try and pin Sakuro inside the trees. The spear able to impale him up, and then they just hold around. That set of Mind Stealer can't do anything to save him, and Ori gets his first kill of the game, and the first for VG Gaming's. Only took him 5 to 6 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, it's looking good for Vici so far. This is the kind of game state they like, though. You know, it's pretty stable, and they're getting kills on the heroes that matter, but more importantly, Paparazzi is having a perfect game up top. We haven't seen the Wisp in some time, but I feel like it's just kind of poetic, where it's literally, it's in the last series played on the patch at TI, right? It gets removed from Captain's Mode, and the first time it's available to be picked in competitive play, it is. And it's first.
Yeah.
Like,
we were having a chat about this yesterday, because we were wondering what we were going to see in the, like, in this new patch. And actually looking at Io and Mars, the two new ones added into the Captain's Mode, obviously Io being re-added and Mars being a fresh one. I know you were leading the way of Mars, and you got both of them in the same game on the same team.
They're both kind of broken. And I think Wisp is a great example of how the skill cap increase in Dota over time makes certain mechanics and heroes stronger, notably stuff like Earthshaker, which is the most lockdown, and it's instant. Wisp, you cannot replicate or counter Wisp relocate. It's just not a thing. Like, you can get two heroes from this side of the map to the other. And when you have teams like Vici and Liquid that are just so adept at movement and finding the weaknesses and getting those numbers advantages, like, this is a tool that is not replicable. Like, it's always going to be picked like this unless it's removed from the game.
And right on top of Paparazzi, he's already the homing missile and mind control, but a double Fissure stun. TP support's coming in the form of Mars. He does have the ulti available. Are we going to put down the gauntlet? No, he doesn't have the mana available for it. It got burnt off. Matumba's moved up to the trees, and they still haven't found the initial kill. Fade did his work to keep that gyro up, and now maybe, well, actually just TP'd out. So you've got Matumba stuck in the trees. Fade will actually get this kill. Yang skewering GH onto the tree lines, and mind control's had enough of this. He's TPing out. Dazzle, ES, and the Chen all going down to VG Gaming, who successfully defend under the Tier 1 tower, even without the Arena of Blood.
That was really well done, just to make sure that they were ready to rotate there. Like, it was expected, right? It's Dazzle, Chen, they come top, and they're looking to get kills and then towers. If you can deny this, Vici, you can stall the game out for another 3 to 4 minutes. All of a sudden, you're in the mid game, and your lineup has dominance. That's a huge play for them, just to sort of stabilize, because if that top tower dies, you also have 3 heroes on Liquid, the PA, the Dazzle, the Phoenix. They can all play off lane, no problem.
Yep. What is actually, okay, top lane, that Fissure block is there, but with DY and Fade behind Paparazzi, Paparazzi feels very confident still to just stand his ground. There's not a lot of pressure that GH can apply, and I beg that question, what is the rotation from Matumba meant to really do? Like, why is this Dazzle pickup in the second, in that mid lane, meant to work for Team Liquid?
They're running a hyper carry around the Miracle PA, and like they wanted that move top to work, and then they make that same move around the 10-minute catapult wave mid. The Dazzle allows, like, you immediately clear the wave, and you provide tons of sustain in combination with the Chen. It's easy, in theory, to just take these early tier 1s and then assert your dominance over the map. Liquid loves doing this. They've picked Chen for years. And the problem is, if it doesn't work out, it's kind of like, well, what does Dazzle do? you're going to trade with the TA, sure, but your item progression just isn't as impactful if you don't have that snowball start. And look at the Ancients already up for Ori.
Yeah, that's a hell of a lot of money to come in for the Templar Assassin. But you are right. Like, I would never be asking the question of Dazzle if that top lane push worked. Like, we'd be sitting there going, man, this pick is really functioning for Team Liquid, just enabling the push, and it would have created a lot more space for Miracle. And he went for the double Wraith in Treads, but now he's going for the Battle Fury.
Yep.
He knows he needs that high level of farm.
And it's to be expected. Again, the downside of this pick is just that Miracle won't peak until like 3rd, 4th item. And he really needs like that 4th item before he can go toe-to-toe with the PA or the Gyro.
10-minute bounty runes, they're coming up.
Yeah,
and VG get almost every single one of them.
And I didn't notice this, but there's really no magical damage on Team Liquid with the exception of the Phoenix and the Shaker. And those heroes, like, they need way more time to be relevant, whereas Vici have a ton of easy spells to do damage in these mid-game fights. Notably, the Gyro ult is, you gotta just walk away from Liquid.
Fitch has actually locked him. No, it hasn't. There is a slither of a path to get up the ramp.
Yeah. Also, another thing just to note, Wisp was changed so that overhealing does still heal your tethered target. So if you get confused, I remember playing a game with Shiver, and it took me like 3 before I realized that I was like flaming her. Like, not really flaming her, but I was like upset. I'm like, man, she keeps salving at full health. Like, what's going on? But it turns out I was the idiot all along.
Yeah, that came in a patch a while ago. But
yeah, but I don't play heroes. If they're not in captain's mode, it's like you might as well not exist, right?
Well, let's just tell that to everyone who's trying to play Mars right now.
I mean, Mars was Hero was released pretty broken. It's not broken, but it's definitely strong, and I think it's at least a B tier offlaner in the meta, possibly A, depending on how people incorporate it into their new lineups.
GH was looking for something on the bottom lane, but they're not really going to find it. Kuro's got this army. And still, with every tier 1 tower of VG Gaming up, this doesn't feel like a Chen game.
No.
Like, you're 11 minutes in and every single tier 1 still exists.
Yeah, it's just also much easier for Vici to play the game at this point. Their supports have their ultimates online. They've got Finger, they've got Relo.
That's DY. Massively isolated. He can get the quick hex out, but he knows he's not going to survive this. One more attack, Kuro has to put him down just because PA was in the stun.
Yeah, but that's fine for Vici. If you look, they've got they've got their TA just farming jungle as the Wisp Gyro play aggressive up top. This is how they're going to look to play the game. Just play 3 lanes, but more importantly, find kills in these lanes when you have like that 2-on-2 scenario. It's so much easier for Vici to do that. They've got this 1+1 concept, right? Where any core plus Lion, that's a kill. Anywhere on the map. And it makes it a very fun game for DY to play because wherever he goes, he can make action happen. Bottom lane, they're moving in.
Yeah, they're looking for a fight. The Courier is currently doing delivery work and needs to get the Demon Edge into Miracle as Ori just runs down the Courier. The level 1 Necro book recipe that was on it will have to wait another 3 minutes before it can find its owner.
Well, that's actually huge. That's the farming tool from a Tumbleman. And also just like his whole purpose thus far. He has 2 nulls. Like, that's 3 minutes now. It'll be 15 minutes before Dazzle's able to actually play Dota.
Yep.
And this is how Vici's going to continue to play. They're out farming. They're continuously stacking these Ancients. And whenever you see Liquid forced into a movement, you know Vici is getting a resource advantage because their Wisp Gyro are always split and continuing to accelerate on the other side of the map.
Do you actually feel like Vici are looking to force something right now? DY and Yang coming in. They'll find Kuro. Quick fissure out. And we're going to see our first Arena of Blood with the relocate over. Combine it with the cooldown, combine it with everything. Yep, Arena of Blood and Kuro is isolated. So relocate as well as the arena being burned. Vici find a kill. And they're pinging the tier 1 tower very quickly. This is the next objective.
Actually, I like this movement. I was going to say I don't like the reload unless they move towards middle. That's exactly what they're doing. Because you want to use this big cooldown and then get an objective off of it. And mid tower is the most important, especially when you're playing Dire side.
Fortify will buy some time, however. Chen's coming back to respawn. DY isolated very far away from this team, but when he gets a 3-hit stun, Fissure will be able to connect. Mind Control after Icarus dive himself forward. Gets hexed up. Stifling Dagger. It's just never-ending slows. And VG Gaming are nowhere nearby to help DY. So he'll go down, and the damage to the mid-tier 1 tower is negligible, 1/3 only.
Yeah, you'll take that. Liquid are really, they're doing fine. It's a really tough game to read because, you really never can count out Team Liquid, especially with this massive team fight comp that they've got. Notably, just Mind Control, Phoenix, GH, Shaker. One good sequence of events, couple huge ultimates, they'll take a fight and immediately a Roshan. It's just a question of whether they can get that opportunity because Vici is able to play with so much more pace in this game.
Yeah. But I'm still interested, like, how you do the push after this. Like, you're talking about the pace, like Templar Assassin gets early Desolator. That's what Ori's working into after having the Blink Dagger. So, okay, well, we have our initiation, but we're still sitting at what is a relatively slow game with only 10 kills, 14 minutes in.
Yeah, but if you look, like the net worth advantage, I don't believe kills have changed. Vici's
mind control. He found Yang up in the tree lines. Yang's already beginning the TP, and there's a stun. GH just able to connect in time. Yang's TP cancelled. Tier 1 tower taken on the top. And this is Team Liquid.
Yep.
Finally claiming what they're looking for, and Paparazzi will get the trade-off on bottom lane, however.
And here's the power of Dazzle Chen. You've got the maxed out aura on Chen, the Divine Favor. Everybody's got 4% health regen. In addition, you've got Dazzle, so your sustain is nuts, and then you have a Phoenix and an Earthshaker just hanging out, just daring Vici to come and try and fight them. And I think this is the move Vici need to make here, where you just continue to mirror the map, maybe take a fight in the pit, but certainly you're not looking to do anything until your Gyro finishes BKB, which is recipe away, and then Ori will have his Deso soon. Maybe then you can look to be active, but team fighting into Liquid is always dangerous because that crazy counter-initiation potential.
DY is having a little bit of fun with GH in mid. They also fortified the Dire Wave. It's a little bit of chip damage into the tier 2 tower. When I say a little bit, I mean exactly that, not even 100.
Yeah, and the thing...
But they want to go.
Yeah, they do.
The Necro books are coming down. Matumba's just using them to scout perfectly. So Io and Gyro will not catch him off guard.
Yeah, you can see the Vlad's up on Yang. He'll be going Blink next. That's really we have a Blink Deso on TA. You've got the Gyro BKB. And you've got the Blink soon on the Mars, and that's when it's go time for Vici.
Yeah, we'll see where they actually go. However, like, can you do Roshan without taking out this tier 1 tower in mid? Maybe that early damage you're talking about, it is really valuable if they can finish the job. But for now, like, it just seems like everyone's just willing to play this passive style farm up game. Get to the big abilities. We thought this patch may drag the game length out a little bit longer, and that's exactly what it feels like too. Everyone's just getting their own
there were no incentives added, like no rules changed that made it more, like you don't want to play more aggressive. It's harder to push towers. It's harder to like group up, and there's no incentive. There's no incentive for either side to try and force something onto the enemy side of the map because you're going to lose. Both squads have these massive tools to just counter-initiate as a squad walks up at them through a choke point. And why risk it when you can just trust your draft, continue to accelerate? I'm sure Liquid trust in the Miracle PA. He's already got the Battle Fury.
He's going to actually let the arena up on top of the shrine, looking for the big battle, and they have to actually trigger the shrine, but now Matumba's getting a lot more light back. Paparazzi arrives on the back of the relocate, but Io being focused down by Fade. Miracle, can he actually do enough? Ori's already managed to get himself a double kill out. This finally killing off the Io. They turn their attention towards Miracle and Mind Control. A quick jump down. The spear, it doesn't actually pin him to the trees. So Vici Gaming, they're starting to back up with the respawning of ES. He keeps the control on Ori, but maybe Ori can get himself a dieback onto GH, able to do so. An ultra kill for this Templar Assassin, and he wants the whole thing, and he's gonna get it. A rampage for Ori. They took that fight on top of Liquid Shrine, and Liquid did not have the sustain even with that.
Yeah, I would say that Liquid took that fight inside the Arena of Blood, Toby, and that was the timing. Like we said it. The BKB Gyro, Blink Deso TA, they're now willing to engage. They had a 4-5K gold lead, now it's 8. Now they walk into Roche, just pretty easily set up. And Liquid, I don't blame them for taking that fight. It's on an active shrine, you've got all your spells. They just underestimated the amount of damage Vici was capable of applying, and that's that. Vici take a dominant lead.
18 minutes in. I said it was going to be a bit of a slow game at the very beginning. Now they jump in, they're going after Kuro. That hit so hard. Ori. And once that armor is gone on the Chen, he doesn't stand a chance. And they'll take this tier 1 tower. Such a rare scenario for it to happen, but it happens because Liquid got totally wiped. All 5 heroes down, plus the extra buyback death. And Roshan dies for a tier 1 tower, but the tier 1 tower straight after.
Still...
They're looking for revenge on Yang. They'll have to fissure him. Just at this point, Matumba push back a little bit further. Mind control. Keeps on the chase. Relocate's coming in. You can actually hear it. Actually, no. It's just going to be Nova. Relocate from Paparazzi and Fade working together. They'll just burn through the Supernova. And Matumba needs to get his Shallow Grave off to survive. These stuns, they just last for so long. Now he begins his own TP out to safety.
Oh my god, but in the meantime, Ori's just slaying on the back. He got Miracle by himself.
He has a double damage.
You can see like the problem with the Liquid draft, like the Gyro just shows up, and you could argue, oh, you win BKB first, you win with Scale as well, but you can. What does Mind Control do? He's got level 1 Egg and a Spirit Vessel, but Wisp Gyro just took that out in 2 seconds, and that's it. You know, you can't deal with the double damage TA even with 2 heroes standing next to each other, and this is looking real good for Vici. 11k up already. They should be able to control the next 4 runes as well. 20 seconds away.
Look at Ori. He's waiting. He's waiting for Matumba to come a little bit closer, but he was uncertain if Matumba could see him or not. Not the biggest Necro books just yet. GH, is he the next target? Spirit's not getting close enough, and he's got some support behind.
And Mars has a blink. Arena of Blood active. Got to be careful with your Liquid.
The Observer and Sentry are on the hillside. They understand what Mars has got. That's why the jump forward. Arena Blood is down. Mind Control. He's got no dive away. He'll just end up exploding. Matumba will be the next one. GH triggers off the Shrine. Matumba gets his Shallow Grave off, but doesn't have a TP scroll available. It wouldn't have helped when the homing missile from Paparazzi was coming towards him. So they've already caught out 2, and they'd love to catch out more, and they're able to do so. Yang just blinking forward, finding his own kill onto GH.
Yeah, and this is the draft of Vici being played to perfection. You know, you get that one critical fight, and then you just play the whole map, and you can look at what's happened to it. Look at the map. Where are Liquid's wards? They don't have anything. You've got a huge, like a force field keeping them contained inside the tier 2s now, and anytime they venture out, they're targets. This is how it works when you play against these Wisp straps. We haven't seen them in a while, but you know the core concept of how you play around Wisp Gyro has not changed. And they didn't even peek. This is, it takes level 20 now for the Ags bonus to be transferred through Tether from the Wisp, but they don't even need that, and they're just going to chase Miracle. He's got no BKB.
Yep, relocate down the bottom lane. Yang already managed to get himself down there too. They pin Miracle to the tree, and Miracle needs a way back out of this, but he does not have an opportunity. Is there something going to be close? No. Fade just locked him in the tree lines, and they relocate back to mid, and they continue where they left off, jumping in. Ori just destroying this Chen as Paparazzi and Fade, they feel immortal, and really, they are.
You know, I really expected like a slower game, but Vici proving like, you know, maybe we had a patch, maybe it's harder to end games quick, but they're going for a 21-minute racks against a team that just finished 2nd at the last major.
This actually feels like, remember when OG were winning all the majors early on, as like, you know what, we just know when we need to fight. We get our perfect items, and then we just gun it. Doesn't even matter if the early game looks bad, but the early game looked great. Yeah. They just continue to push through, and this game really does feel like it's over. Liquid are staying in it, but I don't know how they feel they can get back into it.
Yeah, and they can't.
And there it is, GG. Kuro understands it.
Just abusing completely Liquid's lack of damage until the late game. Phoenix, Earthshaker, Chen, Dazzle, none of these heroes have easy spells that deal high DPS until their talents come online, until their items come online. And even a Miracle PA going Battle Fury first, he's not looking to get involved. He needs time to activate. All of Liquid's heroes are peaking post 30 minutes, and Vici are ending a game at 22.
Man, you just feel the rhythm of that game, and it felt like we're just having a regular drive through the British countryside. Isn't this wonderful? Hey, we're in the Midlands. All of a sudden, we've just teleported ourselves into hell. VG Gaming, such a great performance, such a great focus from the team as well. Like, it actually looks like they came in with a very, very solid plan, but Liquid, they seem to have an idea. They had a concept for game 1 here.
I can't really fault them. You know, it's a new patch. Both teams just trying to figure it out, play some good dotes. The fight they took on the Shrine, that was really, that's the moment that changes this game. Yeah. I don't know if maybe it didn't work, sure, but I can't say it's a bad decision. You know that Vici is looking to fight you. You've got to take one at some point. They chose an active Shrine with everything available. They just did not have the damage. They even bought back on GH. It didn't affect the scenario whatsoever. He's worth a Fisher. He's got level 3 Fisher. That's his entire...
The only thing he bought was a stun onto the TA, but then gave her the Rampage anyway. But VG Gaming, what a terrific start for them. That's a great way to kick off ESL One.
Yes, it is, Toby. Thank you very much. We'll come back to Toby and Kyle, of course, for game number 2 very shortly. But first, we're going to wrap things up here on the desk with Capitalist and Persia alongside me. Gents, like Toby said, that's a great start for Vici.
It was, yeah. The match kind of reminded me of how I like to play Dota. I think of all these like cool synergies that make a lot of sense, and then I just get dumpster in the laning stage, and they're like, oh, well, it would have been cool if we didn't lose really bad in the laning stage. Like, it was a very cool Liquid draft, but it did not become something great.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens sometimes, Cat, in Dota. You know, the logic makes sense. the lanes make sense, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I think there's one thing that really stood out to me while we were sitting in the green room is watching all three of the games that are happening at once.
Yeah.
The heroes were very different. The timings was going to be very different as a result. I saw one lineup, I think it's the OG versus somebody game where they both have like super late game heroes and that there's a lot of scaling there. We see our game where there's this snowball death strategy that's coming out from Liquid that never actually gets online. I see a heavy mid game from the forward that's happening, like very different kind of lineups.
Yeah.
But the way that the games are being played is very similar. You have one side that is trying to take these early objectives, trying to take the safe lane tower, trying to take the mid tower, and the more defensive team, the team that has a little bit better late game, a little bit comes online a little bit later, is always moving around to defend their towers, just like Vici Gaming did here. There is a strong activation when these teams are defending their mid tower, and you see certain heroes like this Mars, who is not Wind Ranger, as it shows on the overlay, but it's actually Mars, is actually, while it does need some items, yes, when it comes to being able to take some early fights, especially if your opponents are forcing the opponents onto you, are so good. And Vici Gaming just did a wonderful job of making sure they never gave Liquid that opportunity to just kind of like steamroll through them. They are always ready to make these heavy rotations and take team fights.
But mostly, I think the laning stage was just kind of borked anyways, because they did what they could to try to limit what TA did in the mid lane. The GH was there constantly, fissure blocking the TA. They didn't really kill her. They almost killed her that one time where he had to use this fairy fire. He almost died under the trees, basically, but they didn't get the kills, and TA still farmed well. And then Phoenix was a little underleveled and underfarmed in the off lane, because you're never going to be able to outdamage what Wisp can heal back. So it was just their lanes didn't go well enough. The gold advantage became more. They stacked a lot, and then TA cleared the stacks and got more and more farm. And PA was still pretty damn farmed. She almost had like Battle Fury Deso at like 21 minutes, but the game was in such ashes at that point that it was like, okay, PA can't come online.
If you look at it, Liquid had two different things they wanted to do this Templar Assassin. They wanted to be able to ruin her laning phase, which you saw actually they had even CS between Dazzle and Templar Assassin, despite all the early rotations in the first 5 minutes. And then after that, they want to be able to take the mid tower. Maybe like you want to be able to take the off lane tower, but especially that mid tower, and then get into that triangle and eliminate the ancient stacks. And unfortunately, even CS and then being able to farm the ancient stacks means TA got everything she needed.
She did indeed. We're going to head to a break right now, but don't go too far away. A first win in a first professional game for Mars is already in the history books. Is it going to be 2 for 2 for Vici? We'll find out very shortly.